So good evening, guys. Good evening. We're here, of course, for an opposition preview. Big game tomorrow. We're back Premier League action. Arsenal versus Brighton, and there's only one man to bring on when we play up against Brighton. We got on last season, of course. I'm sure you don't want the same outcome which happened last season, of course, when we beat them 3-0. But yeah, we're back again with Joe from Albion Obsessed podcast. Joe, thanks so much for coming back on the channel, man. And how you doing?
Hello, mate. Yeah, good to be here. Obviously, I hope it's very different circumstances, as you say. You did the double over us last season. It was probably overdue that you did the double over us for once. So you did it. Let's just hope, for our sake, that changes tomorrow.
Yeah, and guys, make sure before we do start, if you go to the on the title, you'll find obviously Albion Obsessed channel in the blue at. It's so easy to do. Go over there, drop them a sub. They're going to be doing some great content over this season as well. But yeah, let's get into things, man. Of course, I do want to start with yourselves and sort of going through like a new chapter. Saying farewell to the Zerbi. Obviously, he went to Marseille. And appointing Hertzler, obviously very young manager. I saw I've been doing a bit of looking up on him, and he managed that German side. I think he got them promoted, if I'm not mistaken, to the Bundesliga, and then obviously he's got his move to you guys. So what's your initial thoughts on the Zerbi, leaving, and also your thoughts on Hertzler coming in as a new manager?
I think first of all on De Zerbi, I think you have to look at his time with us as a solitary thing. Obviously, he did really well for us. Took us to Europe for the first time in our history. We had some really good results under him. We played some unbelievable football. Probably the best football that I'd ever seen as a Brighton fan, and possibly will ever see. So yeah, we had a good time. Considering the sorts of players that Roberto De Zerbi wanted to sign, probably the best thing that he did want to move on to Marseille, and they have obviously allowed him to go on and sign somebody that we shall not name on this stream, which, if you agree with that, I think you're not a football fan. So yeah, having Hertzler come in is a breath of fresh air, someone that gets the club, gets what the club want to do, and gets the club's ethos, wants to push towards what the club want to do rather than having his own sort of idea on what he wants. I think De Zerbi was very sort of linear in where he wanted this club to go. And of course, he wanted this club to be the very best it could be, but not sure if it matched the club's sustainability approach. Whereas with Hertzler, obviously we've spent a lot of money. We have the means to spend a lot of money, given how much money we've made over the last 3 seasons. So yeah, I think we were always in a very good position to be very strong this transfer window. That's what we've done. We've spent over £200 million now. And it's an absolute dream for a Brighton fan. If you told me that we would ever spend £200 million in our history, I would laugh at you. £200 million in one window is literally like, I always bang this drum, but we were literally on the brink of not existing as a football club anymore. And now we're, spending the riches of, Todd Bowley and Chelsea, what they've given us over the last 2 seasons. So if they want to bankroll us to Europe, then let them. But yeah, very, very exciting times.
No, for sure. And I always say, I look at Brighton, I see you guys such as like a well-run club. Looking from an outsider point of view, because some of the players, I mean, and obviously you get these players come through, they look fantastic, and then you get some money for them, and like you said, you're able to spend that money as well. I mean, what's like been your overall sort of rating of would you say, so, and obviously deadline day today, but what's your would you say in terms of the transfer business that you guys have done? I think one of the big players, I think I remember I was telling you this last year, right? Pascal Gross obviously left you guys, didn't he? And he went to Dortmund. And I always said, I was like, Pascal Gross, such a fantastic player, man, and always looked at him as like one of your key players. So to lose him, I think must be big for you guys. But what would you say your overall sort of thoughts on the window are, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think had we have kept Pascal Gross around for one more year, I think you would have been looking at probably an 11 out of 10 window to keep a player of his influence.
Yeah.
It's clear what he's given us over the last 7 years. Um, and he's moved on, an Albion legend, and will always be remembered as an Albion legend. We can't wait to welcome him back one day and give him a proper goodbye. That's probably one thing that I'm really excited about, is that we never really got to say goodbye. We didn't know it was going to be his last season. So knowing that we did Pascal Gross's last kick of the ball without knowing is quite sad. And we're absolutely gutted to lose him. Dortmund have one of the best footballers in football. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that. If you've watched Pascal Gross at length, not just a small sample size, you can see what Pascal Gross can do to any team. His numbers for a side like Brighton when we were in the relegation battle in the Premier League were ridiculous, and they are what kept us up. His numbers, especially in that first season. So he's been a massive player for us over this sort of growing period. He scored a few times for us in Europe. And yeah, as I say, he leaves an absolute legend. But the players we've brought in, I'm very confident that we've replaced him in some way. But I think I always remain the same. Any sort of player like Pascal Gross, you have to replace him with more than one player. He does, more than one job. So we've done that. We've got in Vifer. We've got in Matt O'Reilly, who unfortunately now is injured. Kadioglu, who can play that fullback role that Pascal used to play so well for us. So yeah, we've done well. It's just a matter of wait and see.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, in terms of like, I know it's still early days with Hertzler coming in. Is there already sort of differences to him to obviously De Zerbi? Would you say just the style of play is that, would you say, different to how sort of De Zerbi was at Brighton?
Yeah, I think there's some similarities in terms of that. De Zerbi wanted his players to play with courage. I think Hertzler wants the same thing. He wants his players to go out there and know that they are capable of beating any team on any given day. But I think the style of play is completely different. Hertzler wants to play always with intensity. He plays a big counter press. You'll never see our forward players stop running when your defense has got the ball. They will always look to press you in areas where they feel like they can put you under pressure. Whereas De Zerbi was very much more sort of wait and see sort of football. Play out from the back, be patient, very positional, and catch teams whenever he saw a break in the lines or whenever the players could break that line. Whereas Hertzler, it's just intense football all the time. As soon as we get the ball, we want to get it up the other end of the pitch and create a chance. And that's what we've been seeing over the last sort of couple of months over pre-season, continued into the Premier League, which we're very happy about. There was a lot of question marks as to what can Hertzler's style of football match the demands of the Premier League. But given if he's given the tools to do that, then absolutely. And we've got the tools to do that at Brighton. We've got a very, very good squad. We've got a very young squad. We've got a few experienced players in there as well. So yeah, we're confident we can have a good season. But yeah, to achieve something special this year might be a bit of a stretch. But I think another top half finish would be really good for us.
Yeah, because obviously, like we saw you guys play European football. That season that was massive. Obviously, and a very good achievement. To see Brighton in there, and of course, give the credit where credit's due to De Zerbi and for qualifying you guys there. But would you say that's sort of that the expectations then on most Brighton fans? Obviously, Hertzler's first season, it's going to take some time for him. Is you're sort of aiming for like a top half finish?
I think it's split. I think a lot of fans see the amount of money that we spent and would expect that to equal European football, which I don't think you could blame them for expecting that after spending over £200 million. It's right to expect that from your football club. Why wouldn't you expect the very best? Why wouldn't you want us to push for Champions League even? I know that sounds ridiculous for me to say, but I genuinely believe that this football club does not have a limit, that we are on to achieving something really special in the next 5-10 years, where we could see a situation where Brighton might win a major trophy, whether that be a Carabao Cup, FA Cup. I I really believe the momentum of this football club, and if you look at the way that we've built, we've never really dropped dramatically. There was one season in the Championship where it went a little bit haywire for us. We appointed Sami Hyypiä after having Oscar Garcia,
Mm,
and we almost got relegated to League One. But after that, when Chris Hughton came in, it's only ever been a steady rise. And I think Tony Bloom learnt a lot from that moment where we dropped 17 league places. And yeah, we've learnt so much being in the Premier League as well, qualifying for Europe. I don't know if we were 100% ready for Europe last season.
yeah.
Obviously, I know we went out to a very good team in Roma. They really played us off the park at their place. But just watch us. I think we're building something special. I know that's easy for me to say as a Brighton fan, but I don't think many in world football would disagree that this club's momentum is something to behold.
No, for sure. And I've definitely seen, just looking from a neutral perspective, I've definitely seen, you guys are sort of like a well-established side now in the Premier League, ever since you first came up. You obviously, when you had Potter, Graham Potter, he did decent for you lot, then the Zerbi, and now obviously Hertzler. And I've always thought you guys as a very like well-established side, and always a side that will give Arsenal a game. And, obviously, playing you guys tomorrow, we're looking at it thinking, the same. It's going to still be a very, very tough game. Yes, we did a double over you last season, and yeah, we kept 2 clean sheets, home and away. But there's always this thing about Brighton. Like, there's been certain years, and you'll remember it yourself, of course. The 3-0 at the Emirates, the 2-1 at the Emirates, the 1-1 when you stopped us getting top 4 that season. So there's been many occasions where Brighton have, definitely upset Arsenal, and it's a bit of a hit and miss sort of time where we play you. So obviously going into the game tomorrow, and obviously the start of the season, you guys started off really well. Everton 3-0 win. Man United, you got that win as well. Welbeck scoring against his former club, and João Pedro in the end, getting you the winner. And even in the cup, you guys played a rotate the side, and you guys, got a very good 4-0 win against Crawley Town. So what's your, obviously, how are you feeling about tomorrow's game up against us at the Emirates?
I think the only thing that concerns me at the moment about us is that we seem to start quite slowly. And if I think if we start slowly at the Emirates, we could get hit. You guys are probably the first real big test that we're going to face. Obviously, Man United is still a little bit in transition period. They've got a lot of new coaches, a lot of new players to bed in, and I know they're off of the back of a really successful end to last season, winning the FA Cup. But they're still not a very good team at all, and I think a lot of people would agree with that. Whereas Arsenal, obviously, I think you improved season on season. You had another title charge last year. You fell just short, but I think this year you'll be better prepared to really go on a very good run. So I think if we look at tomorrow and think it's a free hit, I think that's what it is. I think if you lose to Arsenal, if any club loses to Arsenal this season, except for if you're Man City, you'll probably go, well, that's fair enough. They are title contenders. So it's a big test for Fabian Hertzler. And I think that the history is there for us to get a result, obviously, but football isn't played on history. Football's played on whoever turns up on the day, whoever performs the best. And it's a very different setup at Brighton now. We've got a lot of new players. And Arsenal were continuing that momentum that you were on last season. So I really wouldn't be surprised to see you guys come out winners and really hit us sort of quite heavily a little bit early on and get a couple of goals and just see the game out quite easily. I would love for us to obviously score and cause a little bit of an upset. I think we'll give you a very good game. I don't think we'll ever be out of the game. But then I
Mm.
say that and we're probably going to lose 5-0 now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like it's gonna be, as I said, a very tough game. Even Arsenal fans sitting here thinking, we shouldn't be underestimating, these teams coming to the Emirates, because look, we are very good when it comes playing at the Emirates. Only a few teams beat us last season. I think it was just West Ham and Fulham. No, sorry, we drew Fulham, but yeah, we lost to West Ham and obviously Villa as well, who did us 2-0. So listen, we can be beaten there, and obviously you guys have proved that already over the recent years. But as you said, it's not all about the history. So look, obviously, in terms of how you guys are going to approach this game with Hertzler, how do you see him obviously setting up in terms of lineup? Because I'm not too aware of your injuries, but
Mm.
what would be obviously the predicted lineup for Brighton?
Yeah. So as I say, mentioned we've got a Matt O'Reilly on the injury list already. Um, we've got Kadioglu on the injury list already. He got injured in training
Oh wow,
yesterday. So that's a big blow for us. He's out for 10 days. So he'll be back after the international break. I think we'll see Bart Verbruggen come back in for the number one spot. He had an unbelievable Euros. Obviously, Holland only undone by a very lucky England in the semi-finals. So good to have the Dutch number one in our team and still have him here. Hopefully, he's here by 12 o'clock tonight. I don't think I'll see any last minute bids for him. But yeah, I think it will be a back four of Veltman, Jan-Paul Van Hecke, Lewis Dunk, and I would say Jack Hinshelwood probably best to start left back. Estupinian not quite back yet, but did have some minutes against Crawley midweek. Midfield, I would imagine it to be. Oh, it's difficult because Gilmore could be off today. Milner and Baliba. And then ahead of them, let's go for Yankuba Minter, João Pedro, and Karim Matoma. I think is a very good sort of front three, and then finish that off with Danny Welbeck, who seems to be an unbelievable form at the moment.
fantastic, man. Yeah, Danny Welbeck, of course, former Gunner as well, Arsenal player, scored against his former club, United as well. Yeah, he's still doing it, man, Danny Welbeck. I'm looking at him thinking, you know what, fair play to him, because he can always turn up as well. But also, you mentioned obviously Matoma. Now, last season, looking in, I don't know if he was struggling with the injuries or whatever it was, but I definitely think it was a bit of an inconsistent season for him, in my opinion. But how's he obviously started this season? And obviously, what are you making of him? And is it like sort of he's time to kick on now? Because obviously he came in, he had that very good first season. I didn't really notice him too much last season. So, what's sort of obviously your thoughts on Matoma for this season?
Yeah, he had a big preseason. We went to Japan, and that was really nice for him to return to his homeland and see all the Japanese fans who, it's crazy to see Brighton of Albion with lots of Japanese fans. They turned out in their thousands. That was incredible.
Yeah,
Last season was tarnished by injury, big time.
yeah,
Whenever he came back, he just didn't seem to recover that well, and maybe needed that extended preseason to get back to his best. And when you're mid-season and you're expected to get back to what Karim Matoma is and is known for, is a lot of pressure. So I think we're going to see the best of Karim Matoma this season. He's working really well in Hertzler's system. Again, a guy that's got a massive engine, likes to counter press, likes to defend, likes to attack, and he can score goals. So obviously, as Brighton fans, we wait for the inevitable moment where Chelsea or whoever else with their big millions come in for him, and we're just going to enjoy him whilst he's here. He's been amazing for us. It's so good to see him in a Brighton shirt, and he'll go down as an icon when he eventually does leave this football club. And yeah, we're very lucky to have a guy who's well renowned as probably one of the best wingers in the Premier League.
No, I remember the first time I watched him was funny enough against us when we played during the Carabao Cup game, and
Yeah,
you done us 3-1, and he was unbelievable, man.
yeah,
I was like, yeah, you know what, they got a player here, man. So yeah, if he can get back to to that sort of form, which he's started off the season well. I've been looking. He's been doing great start. As you said, good preseason. So yeah, I think he definitely got some good winners there, especially as well that Ivory Coast. Can never pronounce his name right, but Adringa, I think his name is.
oh
But
yeah,
even him,
yeah,
I've been really impressed with him, and
mm,
he looks like a good winner there. So you definitely got. I mean, João Pedro's there as well, but Danny Welbeck, he's still doing their
yeah.
business. So you definitely got a very good, sort of
And
attack there.
people forget about Evan Ferguson as well. He's coming back.
Fuck yeah,
He's
Ferguson
going to
as
come
well,
back into
man.
our lineup and score a few goals this season. I've got no doubt. So yeah,
Yeah, I
let's
remember
hope
his hat trick.
again we can keep hold of him.
Do you remember? Was it his
Mm.
hat trick against Newcastle a
Newcastle,
few years
yeah,
ago? Yeah, like that. I was like, wow, this
unbelievable.
player looks good.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's obviously back. Is he back from injury now, or is it sort of a bit
He
away?
was named on the bench against Crawley. He didn't come on, and I think it was a good thing that he didn't come on because Crawley were unbelievably physical with us.
Yeah,
And they even got a red card at the end of the game, so that goes. They should have had 2 red cards easily. So yeah, I think he'll come back. I think he'll score a few goals for us and challenge Danny Welbeck for that starting role. We've got Jorginho Rutter from Leeds as well to come in. And also we're looking at a young Danish guy from Nordsjælland at the moment. Remains to be seen whether he goes back out on loan, whether we can get that deal done by the end of tonight, but we'll see.
yeah, nah, for sure. And obviously, let's get into the predictions. How you see this game going against us, man. I know what happened last season. We did a double review, but what's your thoughts and obviously predictions for this game at the Emirates, man?
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I think it was going to be a really tough game. If Arsenal can hit us early, as I say, we seem to start really slowly at the moment. So I think it'll be a little bit too much to ask for us to win. But with every prediction, I always go with my heart. So let's go with a 3-2 win to the Albion. That doesn't mean I think that's going to happen. If I went with my head, I would predict an Arsenal win, but I have to go with my heart. So yeah, we'll say 3-2 to the Albion.
Yeah, fair play, man. Of course, always backing your team no matter what, and love to see that. And also, finally, just obviously your predictions as a fan. Like, I know you said you're looking to finish mid, like a top half finish, but do you see Brighton maybe going in like a cut run in like the League Cup maybe or the FA Cup as well?
Yeah, I think we've got the squad to do that. We've bulked out. We've got a lot of young players that can come in and do a job for us against sort of lower league or opposition. We've got Wolves next in the Carabao Cup, so that's a Premier League tie. So that'll be hard
Yeah,
to get past there if we play a second string side. But why not? I mean, we got to the semi-final a couple of seasons ago in the FA Cup. We're unlucky not to get to the final. We lost on penalties to Man United, which was extremely heartbreaking. But yeah, I think we can do well in the cup, and Fabian Hertzler wants to do well in them. So I would predict us to do okay. If not this season, let's go for it next.
yeah, for sure, man. And obviously, apart from tomorrow, all good luck for the rest of the season, and all the best, of course, to you guys. And just before we do go, if you could shout, where people can find you.
Yeah, of course. First of all, just want to say thanks for having me on again, mate. It's a pleasure to
Man.
come on. As you say, best of luck for the rest of the season, but not tomorrow. I do hope you win the league this year. I am sick of Manchester City, and so yeah, please do go and win the league. If it's not us winning the league, obviously, which I think is a bit of a stretch. But if you want to find Brighton content, come over to Albion Obsessed. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Twitter, everywhere. So just type in Albion Obsessed, come and find us, and come and join in the fun.
There we go, guys. And obviously, Joe, thank you very much once again, getting you obviously back on the channel. And yeah, guys, as he said, that's where you can find them. I said the link's in the title, so go over there, go drop them a sub. We'll be back on this channel, guys, as well. 9 o'clock tonight, we're doing the deadline day stream as well. So hopefully I'll catch some of you guys there. Big up everyone in the chat. That prediction is mad. I think you guys will lose it. Trossardini are coming back against you guys and scoring a hat trick. Wow. But Drew, like, it's the same way if you know Danny Welbeck, you know, scores on us, man.
Yeah.
Like, ex-Arsenal, but yeah, we'll see. But yeah, looking forward to the games. And yeah, guys, we are getting out of it. Enjoy the rest of your evenings, people. Take care and come on, you Gunners.
Peace out.